welcome, Ilias. By the way, how should I say? Because I see Ilya here.
Oh yeah, it's Ilias.
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 Welcome, Ilias.
Do it in public. You have nothing to hide. Start using the internet. Join the ride.
So let's start from a brief intro. What I knew about you, and I learned it from your website that I will share a bit later. But to summarize it quickly, as far as I know, you built and grew a startup. You co-founded it, and you built it to exit. Now you're doing a lot of fun indie projects, but you're also running an agency where you help founders to grow with SEO. So that's pretty cool. And the projects themselves looks very beautiful and high quality. So I wonder, let's probably start from your startup and how did you get there and what was it about? And
So I've been like like any good old story. I started like from like 13 years old. I learned like graphic design, other stuff. I got a little bit interested in Chrome extensions because that was like the new thing. Chrome browser came out, and I was like, okay, you can actually program for this thing. So I made some Chrome extensions for like WikiHow, which is the how-to manual for everything. And I started contributing, going to like IRC, helping them create stuff, write articles, patrol articles. And I think I helped like 20,000 articles at that time to get, more reach and everything. So I was really active in the community. And I noticed one problem was that, because it's like a distributed force of volunteers, sometimes some people are like busy, they're doing random stuff on online, or they're like busy on their laptop, but suddenly there's like a spike of activity, like on Wikipedia. Suddenly there's like 100 new articles that need to be checked. And I made a Chrome extension that shows like a little pop-up that is either like a sun, then it becomes like a cloudy sun, then it becomes like a rainy, and then like a thunderbolt, depending on how urgent the need to verify the articles is. And that was one of my first articles that Chrome extensions that I wrote for like Chrome. That was like way in the beginning, like the first few years before even the web store came out, the first activities, like one of the first Firefox extensions. They didn't have like Chrome. The things, like the web store itself didn't exist, so you had to like upload a CRX file or like a zip file for Firefox to your own website. So I learned how to make a website. I learned how to host and like to create a domain and everything. So I was like 15 around that time. But yeah, those things, kept me on like a little path to learn more about it. I got super interested. And when I graduated graphic design, and I thought, okay, I know enough about graphics or like how to make logos, and decided to study more into like development, software, and to actually go get a college degree in this. That was good because, if you're learning everything by yourself, maybe you learn how to make like a HTML website, or you learn React, but you never learn how like TCP/IP works, or you never learn how like the server works, or why do you need Linux, or what is what is the system architecture, or how von Neumann process works, and everything else. So that's really binds it, gives you like general knowledge about everything. So that helps a lot. And during like college, I started doing like freelance right away. I started first designing like websites as a graphic designer, then doing logos and everything. So during college, I started making little designs. One per client asked already for like, hey, I need a website design, which was for like a pretty big event ticketing system in the UK, because someone recommended me to that. And I said, okay, instead of actually making only the design, I'll actually finish it in HTML for you. And so I became like more of a web developer as a freelancer at that time. And because, over those years, I managed to get a little bit of skill. One, after I graduated college, one friend recommended me to someone else. And that was someone who was very busy in like the startup ecosystem in Ghent in Belgium.
Mhm.
We started working together. I started working as a freelancer for him. We built a little startup together. I was always the front end developer. He was more of the back end developer. We worked together for like a year or two. After a while, one of his colleagues said, let's start a business together. I have an idea. He said, okay, I need a developer or a CTO in general. He said, okay, I know a very good front end developer. Let's get all together. And we started a company together, which was called Officient. The person whose ideas it was the sales director of like a pretty big startup in Ghent.
Mhm.
So he already had a lot of people. He already had a lot of ideas, or like some kind of network. And because the we with Willem had already a lot of like experience and technology, I managed to learn a lot. We managed to grow very fast. So because he was like a very good sales guy, it
Mhm.
went very smooth, right? Um, we I think we started developing in like February or something, like starting like for the dashboard, some other ideas that the sales guy had in mind, but he already managed to sell the software, the product, to a customer just before any code was written, or like before it was online. So,
Pro.
okay, you have this problem, which at the time was, for example, like if you have a company like yours, you have a lot of employees. So maybe, especially if it's like a physical office and everything, you have like a lot of assets, for example, like a laptop or
Mm.
like a keyboard, like monitors. Maybe like some people take
Ah,
things home. Some people take days off, they take holidays. You have a lot of documents like passports, ID documents, pay slips, and everything. So those are like in different systems, like in Excel. They are, like someone tells you, I'm going to be sick next week, I'm going to be like I'm going to be away on a holiday, and so on. So it's very decentralized, and we wanted to centralize all this human resource information into one place. So that was basically the idea. He was a sales guy. He saw this problem at every company he went to. He interviewed them, and he already he noticed the problem, and he realized, okay, we need to find a solution for this, more or less.
yeah.
And he already managed to sell it, the idea of a solution at that time. And we built it immediately and directly to like the things that customers needed, right? So we didn't have like a long development cycle. We said like, okay, this company needs like asset planning. They need to collect all the things that they have in their company, like all the hardware, all the like laptops, mouses, and so on, and centralize them in one place, collect the invoices, and so on, keep them in per employee. So, at a bigger company, for example, someone can ask like, "Hey, by the way, I need a new keyboard for home," and they ask for it, and maybe in a month they'll ask it again. But then they have like two keyboards, but nobody really knows because nobody
Mm.
keeps track of those
Oh
things,
yeah.
and so things get a little bit lost if you don't. So that was one of the first solutions. Yeah, and then like we hired some more people. We got on board more customers, and over time, I think in 3 years we grew to 30 employees, around 20,000 customers, B2B customers.
Wow.
And we managed to to grow pretty steadily and fast. It sounds simple,
No,
but
no, it's awesome. Awesome backstory. Yes, thank you for sharing all this. Um, so I wonder here in the story, it seems like you were pretty entrepreneurial from like the childhood, as I saw. So you said you built this like extension when you were 13 years old, and then you started like freelancing very early. Like what did you what pushed you like to do this? Was it like someone like who teach you this, or is it like some internal energy? Do you know?
I think it's a lot about like curiosity in a way. Like you want to learn how to do something, and then and for me that always helps to like uh, in the beginning, like you have some idea, okay, I want to do this, but then you find a way how to learn it, right? Like nobody teaches you how to use Redis or like how to set up a Node.js server or how to, create like a MongoDB database and so on. So you have to like Google a lot and then try to get to that stage. And I think there's a lot of curiosity that's required to understand how that works. And for me, it was always like just interesting to learn about something, to try to create something, to get it out to people, and then they can use it. You get some feedback that motivates you to do more. You get more traffic, for example, from like posting on Reddit or something else that interests you to do more for your customers and so on. But yeah, I think you see a lot of examples, I think, online, especially like like now with Build in Public, you see a lot of people create stuff, and that I think motivates other people to do more. Like he's doing this, I should be able to do something similar. And I think like compared to maybe when we started 15 years ago or 10 years ago, that was not so common. Right now it's even more easy. Like everyone is building something. There's like a lot of indie hacker community. There's a lot of people creating stuff. Like Product Hunt didn't exist back then, but now it does. And so you see people creating all the time. And I think that's very motivating for a lot of people that there's like such a big community creating stuff. But I think seeing examples and representation really, really helps because you see like this is possible. I think for us, maybe the role models were more like, oh yeah, Steve Jobs is making stuff, right? Or like Mark Zuckerberg, and maybe as a kid, you grew up with those examples more. And now you see different examples, right? More now, it's more like this guy's a digital nomad earning passive income or making 50K with his headshot app, right?
Right. But I still think that we are early to this like movement, even though like Levels says that indie hacking is over. But I think most of the like crowd, they still don't get it. For example, like I spoke with one founder this week that don't understand what no code is, even though they manage technical teams. And it happens all the time. I spoke with founders who like spent $100K on something that they never saw, like with no landing page, like on some team that never delivers. And it's something that I discovered recently that it's kind of a bubble also. Twitter and Product Hunt even, it's just a small percentage of people. So that's what I'm trying also to do with my content, is to try to find this very basic content that will be helpful for more people. Like basically, I know if you launch a landing page, how to make your message clear, because it's more common to people to understand rather than speaking about technology, like use Webflow. Webflow is complicated. Notion is complicated. That's what I found out with our customers, and it's pretty interesting.
But I think now the infrastructure for everything is a lot simpler, right?
I agree with 100%.
If you want to find an example of someone who is in a specific field doing stuff, you will be able to find it a lot easier because now everything is kind of super optimized as well. So if you type in like how to make a e-commerce website, you'll find so many examples because everyone is optimizing for those keywords. You will find like the best blogs, you will find like the best courses, you will find like the best YouTube channels, and so on. So it's very it's very optimized, I think, nowadays, and you'll be able to see like so many good examples compared to previously. But I think like do you think what is like one thing that can be done to get more people to build in public and create their own stuff?
I don't know. I think as usually it's the best way is to show examples, and like there are examples of big successful companies that do this. For example, like Jenny AI. I don't know if you follow them on Twitter. he always sharing like marketing strategies and breakdowns. I got into this from Lemon.io content. Do you know Lemon.io?
Don't think so.
It's like a productized development agency, and he was very big in building public 2 years ago, the CEO, and that's how I got into Twitter, because his content was really cool. He always shared specific numbers, like how did they get customers, also like the channels like changes. That's why we live in these channels. So it's a bunch of useful information. So at least it worked for me. So I'm trying like kind of do the same, like creating useful practical content and trying to keep it on the some very simple, trying to create as simple content as I can, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Because I found out that people don't need to hear about technical architecture. They don't even need to hear about no code. It's more probably about the process itself, the mindset. Like you don't be afraid to fail. You need to hear like harsh feedback every day, like this stuff, and pushing them to do this. And because when you feel it, like first you will be probably scared of this feedback and real world, but once you get it, how useful it is for a product and to iterate, it's you never look back. Like that happened with me. Once I saw how it works, like there is no like sense to do otherwise. And you can use like the same techniques. It's not only about like building in public. It's basically about like this ideology, like share something for free. It's basically creating funnel. Share something for free, something useful, so people can follow. Introduce some I don't know, low cost service when you help them follow these steps, and like full scale, like expensive service where you do custom stuff. So it kind of translates to the marketing and sales. So that's why it's good.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned a lot from you. And when I was looking on your products, let's probably to finalize like this part also. Okay, so we discussed. You said that you grew the team to 30 people, so you led like a big part of this team, right, as a CTO?
Some part of the development team, yeah, mostly. But I mean, I was involved in all the, as a co-founder and all the board decisions and like everything in the company.
Mm-hmm. The question that I want to ask about like leadership, about the team leadership, is it something that like you like to discuss, or is it something you believe in? I mean, now when we're talking about these solo businesses and people who can create crazy value, first of all, do you think that like big team is still needed? Secondly, how do you feel about your leadership skills?
Let me start with like for example, I think Danny, he recently said, okay, I'm gonna stop doing solo, I'm gonna hire people, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a good decision because that's a good way to grow. And I see a lot of the people discussing this as well. And I think for me, for example, like I'm doing things more solo. I have one co-founder, but it's more, like the previous company, Officient, was four co-founders, and then we managed to hire like the first half year we had 2 employees already. So there was a very quick growth, and obviously that changes a lot of things, right? Because we had a marketing person who is helping, we had an extra developer who's helping, 3 developers, and so things go super smoothly. And maybe after a year, I was able to go on a 2-week holiday, and then or like even like maybe I was sick for some time, and then you take some time off, and you come back next month maybe after taking a long break, and you realize the company still grew like 4% without you, without doing anything, and things moved on. You got like 10 new customers, as like you shipped a pretty big feature, and things move on without you. But if you're a solo, those things don't really happen naturally, right? You need to always keep pushing. You're kind of doubting. You're not sure about, is this the right plan? Is this the right course of action? Should I be doing this? How do I distribute my time between marketing and development? I need to also do sales, customer support. I need to do cold emails. I need to do sales calls. I need to check my referral campaigns. I need to improve the design of the product. There's like so many different things, and if you don't really outsource them, there's like too many things that happen a little bit, but nothing that happens amazingly well. Unless like you do, like you spend a lot of time on it, right? Some people are able to, but if you are able to find good co-founders, things will just go a lot more smoother. And I think like most of the very big companies, even that you think don't have like co-founders, or like there's one big head like Zuckerberg, those companies have been actually co-founded by multiple people. And you don't really notice it, right? Even like Tesla, you think of Elon Musk, but there's like 2 or 3 co-founders, right? So most big companies have been started with multiple people, and I think if you're able to find someone to start a company with and to work together, that will really help quite a lot, because you have to like plan things, you have to systemize things, you have to put things in processes, decide on what is better or what is not. You spread the responsibilities a little bit to grow faster. For Officient, for example, we had a really good team because we had 2 development co-founders, one salesperson, one more of like a product manager slash CEO slash finance, So you really spread those things out. Like there's one person handling funding, one person handling even stupid things like accounting, people who is only managing hiring, someone who is only handling the security part of development, because we were handling like human resource data. Someone who's handling like all the product information, someone who's handling like the customer support. So you really spread out those tasks, and it helps quite a lot.
Nice.
But obviously, I understand like the benefits, right, of solopreneurship, because you can say like, okay, I built everything myself. I get to decide all these things. Like I don't have to listen to anyone else. I can put out my own ideas, and I don't have to talk to anyone. But sometimes you are just going the wrong way, and I think for me also that's one of the big struggles doing it now more solo, because with a team we had like a more of a strict system in place where we say like, okay, this is the growth, this is like the exact way that we onboard people. They go through a flow, like they do like an inbound marketing call. They sign up as a lead to the process. We had a salesperson who calls them. They get onboarded. We go visit their office, or we do like an online onboarding to get all their information in there. Someone who's handling like customer support, someone then is handling like the product feedback that they provide, and so on. So there's like a whole flow that works quite well. But now if you're doing it solo, maybe you think like, okay, I'm going to do like a little bit of marketing. I'm going to focus on development, but then you're kind of stuck in different places. So you might be a lot more unstructured because everything is in your own mind and not actually written out in like a Notion document or like a workflow or like a flow chart. So you might not be as productive as you could be.
Interesting. So I think this like structuring information is what makes like team valuable, right?
Yeah, because you you split things up in specific tasks. For example, this is the workflow for sales. This is the workflow for customer support. This is the things that need to be done from product.
By workflow, you mean like exact flow chart, like you mentioned, like that all of you were following?
Yeah, like to-do lists,
checklist.
Checklists.
Cool, but yeah, it's very it's a big idea. It's something that I'm trying to implement in the company, because we for a long time we're getting like clients on an autopilot. It kind of all was like different. Every project was different from another. Like every proposal was different from another, and it's really like created problems once we like scale. And now we're trying to systemize it and like distribute as like micro like products or services from like all that we've built during this time, and trying to really systemize it. So for example, so we like building MVPs, and we always used to have like this pitch that we built MVP in less than 4 months. So it was like historically. Now we say that it's like under 2 months. And if you want, it's 1 month for 10K. So it's like immediately like you got an offer without any like estimation or something, and it makes a lot of things a lot of easier because we now saying here is our process, here's why it makes sense, here's what results it's got. You just need to follow this is how we work basically. And now we systemizing this thing. So from what I hear from you, it's kind of what you described, like when like basically every person like productized their process. I mean, Notion document is already like productized because it's fixed somehow or chart. Basically, you can publish it probably for paid, right? For someone else. So it's cool. It's cool. It's interesting.
I think our company Notion at the time was like 200, 500 pages.
Yeah.
And it talks about like HR processes or like product processes, like ways of working. Like what makes a good pull request, right?
Wow. Yeah. So it's
what makes good code? What doesn't make good code? Should you even things like as a developer, it's like, should you use a if else or should you return early?
Okay.
And we write those things out, and then if someone makes a mistake or does things differently in a pull request, we say like, okay, you should like return early. So you make an if statement and then you return in that statement instead of doing like an if else. And if someone makes a difference, you say it on Slack, you send a link to Notion, or you put it in the pull requests as a comment, and then people learn that way, right?
Yeah, it's super interesting. So basically, you had like this writing culture, let's say. So, and this term from Amazon. So it was about writing, but I think that today's writing is like Notion flowcharts. It's basically the same. And do you know this term async culture?
Yeah.
So is it something that you were following?
We were pretty async. Yeah, we didn't have meetings for like no reason. So it's more like like you need to have an agenda or like a plan for the meeting before you do it. Otherwise, yeah, things like time is just wasted. But we were using Slack pretty strictly. Like it was very very useful for us. So you just put things in Slack, and then you use like emojis to tick things off when they're finished. You make like a mini to-do list in Slack for things that need to be done this week or whatever. And then when someone is ready to work on it, they write a little comment or add a eye emoji to say like they saw it, and then like a checkbox emoji when they finished. So things like that. And otherwise we use like to do like product tools like Jira, I guess at that time. Like now you would use Linear to mark like what needs to be done. But we didn't have like stand-up meetings ever.
Oh, okay. And did you require like daily updates in Slack, written updates?
In the beginning, no. We just said like when it's done, you just post a pull request link to Slack, and then someone will watch it, and then you mention the person who needs to review. Over time, we said like, okay, we have like a separate Slack channel for things that need to be done, or what people are working on this week, like dev/progress, and then people just write what they're working on. And that's it. But that's like third year in, right? So that's like later stage stuff.
Interesting. Okay, and in terms of structure, I wonder, was someone responsible for the whole like this Notion space, knowledge base, or was it like everyone writes their own procedures?
It's more like per team. It's very split per team. It's like development team does their own thing, customer success team does their own thing, product team does their own thing, sales team does their own thing, and then you have each responsible person at the top who decides everything for that category, or it's like workspace and Notion.
Okay, but was it some like general rules, or was they all different, like this knowledge?
Oh, it's like the company is basically split in four teams, and everyone handles things their own way.
Interesting. But for it to work,
main processor, it's very kind of decentralized in its own sense.
Super interesting. Yeah, from what I hear, it was like kind of like ideal company. Like you have strong co-founders, so like you have like this writing async culture, very very cool, and you have like strong sales, and you sell before the product built. So it's amazing story, man. Really like it.
Yeah, it was
Uh,
like a very good template of how everything should work. So for me, that's a very good experience to have gone through that and see how
yeah,
like real async remote company should function.
super. Okay, let's probably open now your website because I wanted to do it and show everyone how cool it is. Uh, let's switch to this. Oops. Okay. Do you see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we see what we see here. So it's a personal page for those who see this. So you have a bunch of blogs here. I think it was different a few weeks ago. So
Yeah,
you.
I change it every now and then. I think if you click on About Me, you
Mhm.
there's like a little
Oh,
more about
nice.
what- how it went.
Nice, nice. Yeah, very like well written. So went through it, the copy, the design is awesome. By the way, this like rotated thing, I stole it from you. So on Product website, you can see like there is a button that is not straight, basically. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's check. So your current project, Magic Space, right? So it's the main deal, right?
Yeah. No, I think I need to rework a lot of this as well because like I started it quite recently.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to focus more like dream outcome, tell the story about, the vision that we want to create, which is more like, helping small businesses get more visibility to actually, become more like um, self-independent or to grow, like their business to a better stage, to, like to really drive that outcome or dream more home. Because this tells more about like, like getting more sales and so on, but it doesn't, what it should be is like, finally get to the stage that you want to be. That's what it should be more clear, how we help them succeed or what the final result would be. So I
Mm-hmm.
think this needs a lot more improvement, obviously. But yeah, no, we do like marketing, SEO, and so on for customers.
Mm-hmm. So the main like focus SEO, as far as I understand, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and to where did you learn all this stuff? Is it like from Officient or the other companies?
Yeah, like on Efficient, I had a short break from development because like the second year in, I said like, okay, I'm gonna do a little bit of marketing. So I just decided to learn everything about marketing and I stopped working at the development team entirely. And I just learned everything about like landing pages, search. I got like Ahrefs and SEMrush and started doing ads, optimizing ads, learning like AdWords, Facebook ads. So I really went super deep into that. And I remember that was a really good, like interesting time for me because I was able to learn like this whole entire new space. And I realized like I have some advantage in this because a lot of marketing is also like very technical in a way.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You set up a lot of processes, funnels, workflows. If you can do like technical marketing quite well, you have a big advantage because there's a lot of like even like Facebook pixels or other pixels that you need to set up. You can do like conversion tracking, uh, all of these remarketing, retargeting tools. They are kind of more technical in nature because you need to like create the funnels for like, okay, someone signs up, they send a Zapier, then they send like a 3 emails, and then they like they add like a retargeting pixel so that they get more ads and like different spaces and like YouTube ads and so on, to remind them about that they visited the website and so on. So there's a lot of more technical stuff that goes in there. Even like stuff like SEO, right? It's more of a technical approach. You need to check all these keywords. You need to figure out like the keyword planner, the find like the backlinks that people employ, like write a better article, set up like WordPress or other blogs or like Next.js website and so on. So if you are able to work as a more technical person in SEO and marketing, you definitely have some advantage towards someone who is doing strictly like WordPress only or no code.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. A lot of sense. So let's say I like some like newborn indie hacker. I just learned it, and I realized that I'm also good in SEO. Basically, got to the same idea as you. What would be like your advice to this person? Like how to launch the service like this, how to validate it? What was your steps?
I think it's good to have like a very strict offering in place. For example, clearly say like this is the things that we do for this price. For example, you say like, okay, if you pay us $1,000 per month, we will give you like 3 or 5 blog posts per month. We will then do your SEO pages, improve the content on the website, check out the title and descriptions, check the images, alt tags, and so on, improve the internal links. Then we do like the next step would be like off-page SEO, which is like more link building. We'll create the authority. We improve like your Google business, Google My Business page, improve your Google Maps offering, and so on. So you need to have like a very strict and clear structure in place of what you offer and for what price, and then kind of explain like the step by step of how things will go for that person, for your customer.
Yes, it's super valuable advice because it's basically what I'm doing right now in company, and you explain like what you should do. It's basically having an offer that is limited with money. It's good also when you're limited with time, right? So it's like in 24 hours or in 2 weeks. Explain exactly what you will deliver, explain the service, and yeah, basically it's productizing, right?
Yeah, I think otherwise, if you don't productize, it's like, okay, oh well, we got a new customer who signed up. What are we gonna do? Let's check. Okay, you check the website and then see. Okay, we need to improve this page, and you do a little bit of this. Then you move on to like keywords, do a little bit of keyword research. You do a little bit of strategy, and if you don't have a structure in place, maybe you make a few blog posts here and there, but then you maybe forget or move on to something else. So the customer will be like, okay, what are you actually doing for us? What is the expected outcome in like 3 months or 6 months that we will be able to get from this, right? If you don't make that clear, they will be a little bit confused, and maybe they will just say like, okay, we don't actually see any change or improvement, and they'll leave, right? But if you say like, okay, like we're doing 3 or 5 blog posts per month, over a year, you'll be able to have like 60 posts that are high quality, well written, and we'll create like 5 to 10 links per month or something for this price. This will give you like more visibility. You do like a weekly or monthly check for strategy. Like this is the things that you should change on your website, or this is the things that will be approving for you. And then if you have a clear structure, they'll know like, okay, the next step for us is 5 more blog posts for next month, 10 more links, and we should get like 10% better visibility or something. Or we will have like the first page, or like the top 10 for this keyword on Google. And then you basically saw the next step that they expect to reach. If you don't have this in place, it's just like you're kind of like doing random stuff, and you're not really clear what's going on, right? And they'll be a little bit uncertain. They'll be unsure why they're actually paying you, and like they'll. If someone asks them like, what do you expect? Why are you getting, like, why are you paying for this marketing service? And what do you plan to get in 6 months? They'll be like, I don't know. They're just doing something, right? So that doesn't really help.
Nice. Yeah,
It
and
helps.
also, yeah, certain and also important part that you mentioned is like making clear onboarding, basically, like what will happen once you like start. Is it what you meant?
Yeah, like good outcome. Yeah, expected
Yeah.
outcome.
Okay, yeah, that's good. Okay, so we have, let's imagine we have this good offering. How do we get clients?
Yeah, I think that's also still, like just pick one method that really works for you, whichever it is. That can be, if you're making like a marketing or SEO service, that can be just like find people that you know and ask them if they need help with this, right? And then that's basically like a hot email or a hot call, and then ask them like they want to sign up. Otherwise, you need like a very good, after you have that and you ask your colleagues or whatever, you basically either get referrals or you find a method that works for a lot of people. That's basically like Twitter. And you write a lot of great content that says like, here's like one way to do keywords, here's one secret way to do like to find like backlinks and so on. Yeah, and do a lot of like value creating stuff that is for free and that people find useful, and then they see that you're like an expert in this field. If you're not doing like social, I guess you can try like, for example, cold emails, and then find like a list of people that are specific to your niche, and write them like a very good email saying like, hey, I noticed this is like your website, we can improve this and this, and do you want the, like, this is what we can do for you for this price, and write like emails like that. Yeah. And you basically can find a list like that through like Apollo or like LinkedIn, or just find like people in your area that might need this and reach out to them. So, like in the beginning, that's the easiest way
Nice.
to get started.
There are also like mixed opinions about cold emails, and it seems that you're actually using them. So I wonder what was your experience, or what would you recommend? So one great recommendation that you already did, it should be highly specific. So it should, like you described, I will do this for your website this way. So it's pretty specific. What else?
Yeah, for example, at Officient, we send like like it's even more targeted because it's like a super specific niche. It's like human resource companies, or startups that have more than 10 employees but less than like 50 or something, right? And you can easily find a list like that in your area, and then you make a video. So like you make a like a nice thumbnail with like their name written down, and then you explain like, hey, this is what we can do for you. So yeah, kind of like attach a video to the email, so that like they can see quickly what it is about, and that it's like very personalized in a way. And you can automate a lot of this. For example, one idea, if you have like a marketing agency and you're targeting, for example, like a specific niche in your area, what you can do is like find a list of websites, you put them through Hunter to get like the list of emails and the names of people, and you can use like a screenshot API tool to take a screenshot of the website. You attach it to the email and you say like, hey, blah, 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 this is like your website. You find like 3 keywords and you say, like that they're ranking for, and you say like, okay, we can help you reach higher rankings for those articles. So you attach like a personal email, attach like a personal screenshot of their website, the keywords that they're ranking for, and how you could improve them, right? So you can actually automate, for example, that's part. And for sure, that would be a much better email than saying like, hey, we offer marketing services for this or that, right? Because they will see it, and they probably get like 50 emails like this per month, right? So they won't care. But if you attach a screenshot and some very specific stuff, it will help a lot.
Yeah, I agree. It's also one thing that we recommend to our team is to put their faces, ideally with something from like potential client, because when they see faces, it also helps. Even this small trick. Cool, interesting. And did you use Lemlist?
Yeah.
Do you know this app? Yeah, so I think it allows you to do like stuff like that, like custom text or like render website in some template. So it was pretty interesting.
Hmm.
Okay, so yeah, it looks like we are running out of time, but yeah, we just started a really interesting question. So I really love that you explained a lot, and it was really helpful and decent advice, because I mean I lived through it and it's all like makes sense. It's something that I failed with, that I'm changing. So it was
Yeah, I think it's important to have like a good plan in place if you're indie, solo, or like you have a big team. Whatever it is, just have a very clear structure. Write it out, either like on paper, on like post-it notes, or like whiteboard. Like this is everything, like write like a huge whatever it is that you're able to do. But like even if you have like a tool like Typeframes, write out everything, right? This is like how we get customers. This is the second part, like this is how we onboard them. This is the emails we send them as to get them to sign up. This is the benefit that we provide. This is our future plan. This is how much we want to grow in a year, and this is how much we want to grow in the next months. This is how we will get money or revenue. If we have this amount of revenue, this is how we will hire someone, or this is the next probable hire that we'll need. To like write out, just like brain dump everything what is possible to one page, and then structure them over time to systematize anything. And I think if you do this, you will have a lot better results than just kind of like messing around, trying things in the arena. And it will help a lot to actually structurize, plan and process things.
yeah.
I'm not a perfect example, obviously, but this is like one of my goals as well. It's not always easy, but it's the most important thing.
And what I like, it's basically like programming before programming. So you basically explain the algorithm, you're testing it in words, in flowcharts, and later you can automate it very easy if it's already working.
Yeah.
So,
for Officient, for example, if we tried an experiment, one of the things that we wanted to do always is like, what is the expected outcome? Then we do the thing, and then we check if we get there, right? For example, you say like, okay, we're gonna send an additional email or something. Does this actually improve anything? If it didn't, why did like what was the point, right? And if you just try something without actually having an expected outcome, how do you know if you actually succeeded? So you need to write things out to see the result that you were expecting before you actually do the thing.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm going to implement it too now.
Yeah.
Okay, one last question. As you, it seems like you're very practical and you're doing stuff by yourself, but probably you can recommend some, I don't know, books or resources or videos about like this very stuff that we discussed, like how to probably organize yourself, how to.
I think at different stages you have different books, obviously. Yeah, I think the most recent good books that I read are probably like Alex Hormozy, right? The $100 million offer and then $100 million leads. And I think that helps a lot with creating like a good offer and then creating like good leads to get people to that offer. So that will be the most useful thing for people who are starting out, or anyone actually, because that systemizes a lot of things. Yeah, I think that helps quite a lot.
Okay, one other book that I can recommend, I don't know if you know it, but it's called E-Myth. So it's about like SOPs, like standard operational procedures, like basically what we discussing here. And I know it's pretty like an influential book, like in this area, in this like call companies and so on. Okay, so thank you so much, Ilias. It was a great episode. I learned a lot, and I really am going to implement some things that we've discussed, like setting expectations and measuring the results. So it makes a lot of sense. So thank you a lot.
Sure.
Yeah, pleasure. Good.
right. Do it in public.